The Ford Mustang Convertible looks like the kind of car everyone understands at first glance. Loud badge, familiar shape, a name that carries decades of history. But the strange part is this: most people who talk about it have never really understood what it was built for. Because the Mustang Convertible has spent years being judged by standards it never agreed to. From the outside, it carries the weight of the Mustang name, power, attitude, muscle, expectations. People assume it's supposed to be aggressive, dominant, intimidating, and when it doesn't fully deliver that experience, disappointment follows. Critics call it confused, compromised, lost, but that reaction reveals more about expectations than the car itself. The truth is, the Mustang Convertible didn't evolve away from its purpose. It stayed loyal to it. While coupes chase stiffness, lap times, and track credibility, the convertible went in the opposite direction. It leaned into exposure, sound, presence, feeling. The roof wasn't removed to improve performance, it was removed to remove distance between the driver and the road, between the car and the moment. And that choice quietly defined everything that followed. But that choice came with consequences. As performance culture grew louder online, the Mustang Convertible became an easy punchline. Too flexible, too heavy, not serious enough. The numbers backed those arguments just enough to keep them alive. And slowly, the car's image shifted from iconic to optional. Something you bought if you cared more about looks than substance. A label that stuck longer than anyone expected. Yet while critics debated, something strange happened. The car didn't disappear. In fact, it outlasted competitors that tried harder to please everyone. Other convertibles vanished quietly, cut from lineups without ceremony. But the Mustang Convertible stayed, year after year, generation after generation. And that persistence raised an uncomfortable question. Why does a car so often dismissed refuse to die? Part of the answer lies in timing. As the automotive world moved toward electrification, silence and automation, raw aggression started losing its appeal. People weren't dreaming about dominance anymore. They were dreaming about escape, and the Mustang Convertible almost accidentally fit that desire better than most modern cars. It doesn't isolate you from the drive, it exposes you to it. Wind, sound, temperature, motion, everything that modern cars are designed to filter out, the convertible allows back in. And once you experience that, performance stats start to feel secondary. This is where opinions split sharply. Some drivers feel the car lacks urgency. Others feel it finally breathes. Some say it's too refined now. Others say refinement is what makes it usable. The Mustang Convertible exists in that uncomfortable middle ground. Too emotional for purists, too bold for people who want quiet efficiency. And instead of choosing a side, it stays exactly where it is. That balance wasn't accidental. Ford understood something many brands ignored. Not every buyer wants to prove something. Some just want to feel something. And the Mustang Convertible doesn't pressure you into intensity. It doesn't demand aggression. It offers atmosphere, style, familiarity, a sense of occasion, even at low speeds. That's why it shows up in places racetracks don't matter. City streets, coastal roads, night drives. It's not about pushing limits. It's about creating memories. And those memories don't need validation from anyone else. Still, the criticism never stops. People ask if it's still a real Mustang, if it deserves the badge, if it represents the brand correctly. But those questions miss the point. The convertible doesn't redefine the Mustang, it reveals it, strips it down to the emotional core. And what you see underneath depends entirely on what you expect a Mustang to be. And that's where the real conflict begins. Because once you stop asking what the Mustang Convertible lacks, and start asking what it offers instead, the conversation changes completely. And what it offers might be the most misunderstood part of the Mustang story. What the Mustang Convertible offers becomes clearer once you stop trying to force it into categories it never fit. It isn't chasing extremes. It doesn't want to be the loudest, the fastest, or the most aggressive car in the room. Instead, it occupies a space most modern cars avoid: emotional presence. And that choice is exactly why it continues to divide opinion. Driving a Mustang Convertible is less about confrontation and more about awareness. You notice sounds you'd normally miss. Tire noise, wind movement. The engine doesn't just roar, it breathes. That openness changes how speed feels. 50 miles per hour feels faster. A calm road feels cinematic. And suddenly, the idea of needing more power starts to feel unnecessary. This is where many misunderstand the car. They think it's underwhelming because it doesn't overwhelm. But restraint isn't weakness, it's intention. In recent years, as cars have become quieter and more controlled, the Mustang Convertible has quietly resisted total isolation. While competitors chase silence and automation, it preserved imperfection. Small vibrations, slight flex, mechanical feedback, not enough to feel outdated, but enough to feel alive. And for a certain kind of driver, that matters more than perfection ever could. Still, the car sits in a strange cultural position. It carries a legendary name, yet refuses to behave like a legend is supposed to. Legends are meant to intimidate, to dominate, to set rules. The Mustang Convertible does none of that. It adapts. It softens where necessary. It chooses comfort over conflict. And for some, that feels like betrayal. But for others, it feels like honesty. Because if we're being honest, most people were never using Mustangs the way purists imagine. They weren't track monsters. They weren't weekend racers. They were daily drivers with attitude. Cars that made ordinary moments feel different. And the convertible simply removes the illusion and shows that reality openly. That's why the criticism often sounds repetitive. It's not what it used to be. It's lost its edge. It doesn't feel dangerous anymore. But danger was never the point. Presence was. And presence doesn't require aggression. It requires character. The Mustang Convertible's character is subtle now. Confident without shouting. Stylish without trying too hard. Familiar without feeling old. It doesn't shock you. It settles into your life. And that's exactly why it survives, while louder, angrier cars fade away. There's also something symbolic about its endurance. In an era where convertibles are disappearing entirely, the Mustang Convertible's continued existence feels almost rebellious, not because it's wild, but because it refuses to conform to efficiency alone. It reminds people that cars were once about experience, not optimization, about feeling connected, not insulated. And maybe that's why the debates never end. The Mustang Convertible forces people to confront what they actually want from driving: control or chaos, comfort or intensity, emotion or dominance. It doesn't offer one clear answer. It lets the driver decide. And that ambiguity frustrates people who want simple definitions. But ambiguity is also what gives it longevity. The Mustang Convertible doesn't need universal approval. It doesn't need to win arguments online. It just needs to keep doing what it's always done. Create moments where the roof is down, the road is open, and the outside world feels a little closer than usual. That's not a weakness. That's a different kind of strength. So is the Mustang Convertible a real Mustang? That question will never disappear. And maybe it shouldn't. Because the moment everyone agrees on what a Mustang is, the brand loses its edge. The convertible keeps that tension alive, between past and present, between image and experience. And as long as people still crave that tension, the Mustang Convertible will keep rolling forward, unbothered, unapologetic, and misunderstood by design.